Good morning, Bucknutters, and welcome into the Bucknuts Morning 5 on Wednesday, March 25th, 2015. I am Dave Biddle. Urban Meyer met with the media after yesterday's practice, and I have several takeaways. First of all, I really like what Coach Meyer is doing with what he calls the 2,000 rep club. It refers to players who have amassed around 2,000 competitive reps during their Ohio State careers. Now, competitive reps are any reps received in real games, plus any reps received in practice when the Buckeyes are going live. To preserve the bodies of such players as Taylor Decker, Pat Elflein, Nick Vannett, Joey Bosa, Adolphus Washington, and others, the guys that have proven themselves on the field, they're taking it easy on those guys this spring. It makes a lot of sense, and Coach Meyer says strength and conditioning coach Mickey Marotti has done a lot of research on the topic. Now, they're still pushing the aforementioned players hard in the weight room and the film room, but there's no reason to get their bodies beat up this spring on the practice field. They're still getting some reps in, but overall the coaches are taking it easy on those guys. However, that means patchwork lines on both sides of the ball, and Meyer said practice yesterday was very sloppy. It was the first day of full pads, full contact, and Meyer said part of the poor practice is probably attributed to the guys having spring break last week. Make of that what you will. Meyer was adamant that Thursday's practice better be a lot better, and he challenged his assistant coaches to make sure they get the guys in their respective rooms ready for Thursday. Meyer also gave a few injury updates. They're, of course, taking it slow with Ezekiel Elliott, who had wrist surgery after his stellar sophomore season this past year. Elliott also had surgery on the wrist back in August after he first fractured it, so of course they're going to take it easy on a guy who's had 2 surgeries in the span of 6 months. Plus, it's safe to say Elliott doesn't need the spring reps. He's proven he's one of the best running backs in the country and will be on the short list of Heisman candidates if he stays healthy. Also of note, center Jacoby Bourne is missing spring after undergoing surgery on his foot. He is expected to be fine for the start of preseason camp. This was an injury he had that lingered late in the year. This is nothing new. We've known about this for weeks, but just in case you didn't know, Jacoby Bourne is missing spring due to the foot injury, and he will be fine for the start of preseason camp unless he has a setback. Meyer also went out of his way to say that they are taking it easy with Braxton Miller. Miller was only throwing on the side lightly anyway, but they've even backed off that a little bit because they don't want to risk a setback. Miller is still throwing a real football a little bit, but he's just light tossing and is mostly working on strengthening his shoulder in the weight room. Meyer didn't mention this, but we hear Miller looks much bigger physically. I still think a move to hybrid could be in the cards here for Miller. As for JT Barrett, he is ahead of schedule in his comeback from the broken ankle he suffered against Michigan. Barrett is doing most of the on-field drills with the rest of the quarterbacks, although he has not been fully cleared for contact yet, and chances are good, in my opinion, that even if cleared, Barrett will be held out of live drills. Now, the scholarship quarterbacks wear black no-contact jerseys anyway during practice, but there are still accidental collisions involving the quarterback when the team goes live, so no need to risk anything with Barrett this spring. While we're on the topic of the quarterback situation, I invite everyone to vote in our poll that asks who will be Ohio State's starting quarterback for the majority of the 2015 season. You can find the poll on the front page of the site or the front row message board. And anyone can vote, not just our subscribers. It's very interesting to look at the results. We've been flooded with votes, and I won't spoil the surprise by revealing the results thus far. But trust me, you'll find them intriguing if you haven't already seen them. So take a couple seconds and vote in our poll. Will it be JT Barrett, Cardale Jones, or Braxton Miller? That's the million-dollar question this offseason. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. The poll closes next Tuesday, and it's going to be fun to look back on it when we know the answer this fall. A couple more quick injury updates. Johnny Dixon has been medically cleared and is practicing. The wide receiver had surgery on both knees last August, one for arthritis and one for tendinitis. I'm sure they're going to take it easy on Johnny Dixon, but it's good to know that he has been medically cleared. Corner Marshawn Lattimore, who is coming back from hamstring surgery in August, has not been fully cleared, but we're hearing he is close and has been participating in most of the on-field drills. If I'm leaving any injured player out that you want to know about, post your question in the comments section and I'll answer it. Spring practice will resume on Thursday, and that practice is open to the media. Plus, we'll interview a handful of players and assistant coaches afterward. I'm really looking forward to all of that. We'll have a practice video on the site for you, plus stories and bolts on what the players and coaches have to say. Again, that'll take place tomorrow after practice around 11:30 a.m., so look for tons of spring ball content on the site tomorrow afternoon. And on the site today, the boarding house will have a very interesting item on Tony Parker. No, not the French point guard of the San Antonio Spurs, the standout UCLA sophomore center who nearly committed to Ohio State 3 years ago. Why did Thad Matta miss out on Parker when he thought he had him in the bag? You won't believe this one. Also on the site today, Bill Kurlick has you Recruitniks covered with his In the Dean's Office feature, where he answers questions on Ohio State football recruiting. A huge recruiting weekend is upcoming for the Buckeyes, where the nation's #1 overall prospect, defensive tackle Rashawn Gary from New Jersey, and others will be making visits to Ohio State. Bill is all over it, so check out In the Dean's Office and ask Bill your questions on recruiting. Or dating advice, whatever, but mostly on recruiting. Thanks for listening to the show. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.